I want to ask you guys about this story specifically because Jeremy was like, this is a big deal. And I said, great, but I don't actually understand what's happening.
Okay.
Star Wars chief to retire, Kathleen Kennedy reported leaving Lucasfilms this year.
Let me show you something real quick. Okay, let me show you how big this
Are you
story
interrupting
is.
my very professional?
No, I'm adding to it. I'm improving it. Here we go. Let me just hold on.
Okay. We're waiting with bated breath. I had a really smooth transition, and now
Turns, go home to mommy. Turns, go home to mommy.
Yeah.
Turns,
So I mean, this is the star of Acolyte rage twerking.
Yep.
Because people were making fun of their woke Star Wars show where two women scissors and create Jedis or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah,
What?
Kathleen Kennedy gone. I don't care what the headlines say.
Has she said this before? Has she?
I think
said
it's
she was
mostly
gonna...
been. I won't name their names, but there's like 2 YouTubers in the Star Wars space that just like make up lies.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, has she said this before and she's not actually doing this? Okay, but for realsies this time,
It's for real. The Hollywood Reporter like covered it and stuff. So
Screen Rant covered it. A couple other places. I don't know why I picked soapcentral.com, but that was the one that came up.
Everything is healing since Trump.
I know Trump's unstoppable. Yeah.
So what? Who, is she? Okay. First off, the real question is Kathleen Kennedy a Kennedy, or is she just someone who up last name? Okay, and then
I know that's what you care about. Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to understand your culture in the best way I can through my own lens. So she was responsible for just like wokeifying Star Wars, which, by the way, there's like 100,000 Star Wars like shows. I mean, I can't keep up with it all,
and they're all terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna let Melonie take the lead on this.
I mean, everything since she's been a whole part of Lucasfilm has just been run to the ground. I mean, Star Wars, you used to take that very seriously. If something Star Wars was coming out, like the nerds were super hyped about it. Well, then you just all of the new stuff with Rey, all of the spin-offs for the most part, except for the Mandalorian season 1 and 2. Other than that, it's just been ruined. They keep trying to add a lot of woke stuff into Star Wars. They want to like feminize Star Wars. The Force is female. This is one of those things to where they take a male centered property. I mean, Star Wars was mostly popular among men. That doesn't mean that there were women who didn't like it. There was a lot of women who still liked it. But whenever here's the problem with that is when you take something that's predominantly has a male audience and some women like it, but then you want to cater it to more women, it just goes to a mess because the women who already liked it aren't going to like the changes of you trying to pander to them. It's gonna be like,
they liked it the way it was.
We like it how it was, you know, and that's how I feel with so many things.
They did it to Marvel. Too. Remember when Thor was like a badass and then he just became a himbo?
I know.
It was so degrading. Like, haha, he flicked his clothes off. Haha, he's nude.
Exactly. And one of the issues too with the Marvel universe as well was how they tried to they cared more about the MCU than they did each individual property, which was my big issue.
So they were sacrificing like this specific details,
like Spider-Man. It's like, oh wait, we have because the Avengers is the really important part, so we need everybody to fit a certain role, and so we have to change some personalities here because we need like the comedy relief, and we don't really have things like that. But
they overdid the comedy too, and then like I think because they thought women wanted it. And like it just got to the point where it was just like, oh my God, we get it. Like it was just like joke. Like even during Endgame, which was supposed to be serious, like still non-stop jokes. It's like, hey, isn't this supposed to be like the battle for weren't we just supposed to cry when Iron Man died and we're cracking jokes? Like it's so like weird and dumb. They destroyed Thor. They humiliated him.
They really did.
Starting with Love and Thunder, or the one before Love and Thunder. That degenerate director, Taika Waititi. Who had a threesome with the other woman in that movie or something like that. And like
what?
Yeah, they were like pictured all making out. He's a total degen. And then they made like Thor just a dumb bimbo. Actually, it started before that when they made him the butt of the joke for getting fat in Endgame. He used to be like the alpha male, and all the fat blue-haired losers that work for Disney don't like alpha males. And so they humiliated him by making him fat and a gamer and stuff like that. This is also true, lesser known, but also in, showing respect to the fandom around Indiana Jones. Kathleen Kennedy completely destroyed Indiana Jones too, and did the same bull crap. Like, let's bring back Indy. He's 100 years old. And then we have this like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's a feminist, who just so happens to look exactly like Kathleen Kennedy. Just like Raylo did.
Make her punch him, disrespect him.
Yeah.
And then the whole, make everything about like, the colonizers this, this, that, and then all these woke talking points coming from her. So, gosh.
I want to read something from Screen Rant about Kennedy. It says, Kennedy has often served as a lightning rod for criticism of the Disney era, and criticisms haven't always been in good faith. We tend to underestimate the scale of the challenge she was faced with when she took over Lucasfilm in 2012. As Disney CEO Bob Iger noted in his autobiography, The Ride of a Lifetime, the studio had no formal structure, no developed pipeline, and nothing really in the works to bar some.
They only had 40 years of history to build off of. How could they possibly do that? How could they possibly have done their show? Oh my God, that's enraging.
So is this like people are going to run cover for her?
They always have.
72, and they're already being like here you can see it's like Kennedy's Lucasfilm has had many successes, as heavily criticized as the sequels may be. Few trilogies gross $4.4 billion worldwide, but she's also undoubtedly had some stumbles. Like, it seems like they're really trying to be like, no, ultimately she's going out on a high note, when maybe that's not true.
That's 1,000% not true. Every film in the sequel trilogy that they put out made less money than the film before it. That's not how it's supposed to go. They lost fans every movie. Every episode of every television show that they put out lost viewers. The Acolyte.
And that was a gigantic nightmare.
Yeah, it was.
Acolyte was.
They had they caught lightning in a bottle with the first
2 seasons of Mandalorian. That was it. And you know what? That was a more and the way it started was a lot more masculine. It was like, here's a space cowboy bounty hunter. Like, it was awesome. But then that obviously went downhill dramatically.
Yeah, I mean that's just, I mean, the problem is Disney listens to social media. They think it's real life. That's why you get a twerking She-Hulk with Megan Thee Stallion. They're like, we'll get a viral moment. But then nobody watched the show. And Kathleen Kennedy is stupid, listen to that same stuff. Like, let's get a viral moment. And they did get a lot of viral moments, like two witches sizzling to create the form. No, right? It never was.
Because I remember the She-Hulk stuff, but it was not like someone was like, wow, this is cool and this is grab, or like whatever. It was very much like, this is cringy and like weird. Also, I've seen clips of it, but like the She-Hulk costume or animation or whatever it was, like, it was not comfortable for the eye to look at. Like, it looked weird.
Well, I don't know how AI or CGI, I don't know if you saw the tweet going around, but like, there was this tweet where it showed it was like, how did CGI get worse in the last 20 years? And it showed like a clip of like Davy Jones or whatever playing the organ with his
Caribbean,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
The Kraken.
The Kraken guy,
that was peak movie CGI. It looked incredible.
And like, how in the hell we got now where basically everybody's like, the CGI sucks.
What's the explanation? Like, why did it get worse?
Well, I don't know. Time. They relied more and more on it, so they had less time to spend making it great.
Hiring H-1Bs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's probably a big part of it.
Yeah.
The amount of money they spent on the animations would blow your mind. Hundreds of millions in a single movie. It's nuts.
Right. Yeah.
That is wild. So what happens to Lucasfilms now. People are saying Dave Filoni will take over. I don't know who that is. George Lucas's protege.
Didn't he work on The Mandalorian? Wasn't he like?
He did. But I don't give people are like, oh, Steve Mandalorian, and who's the other guy, the chubbier guy? No. Jon Favreau.
Right.
They're like, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they actually give a crap. It's going to be great. And then we got the Ahsoka series. We got Acolyte. We got season 3 and 4 of The Mandalorian. So it was like, I started to think like, wait a minute. They will probably take over, but like these guys signed off on all that crap. So why am I supposed to believe? Why am I supposed to believe that they're going to fix anything? They signed off on space lesbians, like scissoring to create the Force. They signed off on that, not Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
You don't think their track record is promising?
No, unless they sell it back to George Lucas. Like I don't know anybody who could buy it and fix it. They've done so much. It's not like they put out one bad movie.
I know.
They put out 5 bad movies. The only one that I think is worth watching is Rogue One. So they put out like 5 or 6 terrible. They were so bad they stopped making them. They didn't stop making them because people stopped wanting them. They stopped making them because they were losing money. Yeah. They opened that expensive Star Wars theme park and they closed it down in like 6 months.
That's kind of crazy.
Not one of their shows outside of The Mandalorian made it past season 1, I don't think. Maybe one did, I don't know. Acolyte didn't.
I think you're right.
So like they completely watered down the IP, and then they watered it down with like actual feces. It's not like they just put out like there's like the PPMs were low and like one little turd got in there. Everything that they put out, the water became undrinkable, and it was like everything they put out was worse than before. And like you can look the other way. Like I love Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the Hobbit movies are terrible. Right. I don't hold those against the Lord of the Rings series. This I don't know if unless they like literally change ownership, it's still owned by Disney. So I don't know how they had
the core problem still exists.
The movies that they put out, the movies that they put out like specifically set out to demoralize the fandom. They had Luke Skywalker drinking green boob milk and like disavowing being a Jedi and like all this crap that Luke Skywalker never would have done. And then they're just, so they did all this thing to like subvert the fandom that I don't think many people are willing to give them another try.
Well, a lot of these people, they just like get a kick out of making the fans upset. That's what they want to do. They hate the fans, and they think of, Star Wars fans, these are white male bigots. In their mind, that's how they view them, and they want to get revenge on these people because they don't like them. So let's ruin something they love, and let's make it all gay and for the girls and gays. And then guess what? Then they're not
then
watching
it doesn't
either. Yeah. So it's like nobody's watching it.
Let me ask you about this then. I grew up, my brother watched He-Man. I remember it being on TV. They're doing a live action He-Man and his sword revealed in first image from upcoming Nicholas Galantes, I don't know how you say his name, movie. Is this kind of the same thing where they're going to take a masculine guy and it's going to be bad, or is
they've already done that? Yeah, they I mean, if you look at
image?
What's the scroll down a little more.
This one, it just
that
looks like
good.
it's
okay. It looks good. It looks
he's got some muscles.
I thought, that's no soy boy. He's looking like a man.
Now, well, Prince Adam was muscular in the fake nerd Kevin Smith, and they still made him a bitch.
All right.
This says the first look image suggests that the Masters of the Universe live action movie will stay fairly faithful to the character design of its animated counterparts. Meaning, like, what, they didn't gender and race swap it?
They did that already, though. I think that's what they're worried about. They did they did that crap with the Kevin Smith He-Man reboot. Like it looked cool, but they made He-Man a wimp. They made the show about the woman, whatever her stupid name is, and I love Dude, I mean, when I was young, I had a twin sister, so we had to share everything.
Yeah.
But our birthday cakes were like half Barbie, half He-Man. And
Yeah.
like I
think
was like a
that's cool,
He-Man
though.
guy.
Like that's
Yeah,
nice
it's
to
fine.
have that double, you know?
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, but like the thing is, like, if you really want to pick at it, He-Man was a cartoon that was created to sell toys. It wasn't like anything that was like a deep lore, like, thing. But like I think G.I. Joe probably was too. No, that's not true. G.I. Joe wasn't. But He-Man was. And like, but it was just like these weirdos get off on ruining masculine characters. So Kevin Smith, for example, famously did an interview where he was like, I never even watched He-Man. And then when he got the He-Man show, he famously said on video, oh, I was a huge He-Man fan. I used to race home after school every day and watch He-Man. It's like, these are the people in charge of our beloved IPs. Because they're all frauds.
Exactly, they are.
Yeah. Like, don't you understand how the internet works? Like, this is not like, we're not new age, like, not used to this. Like, if you're like, oh, I never watched it, like somebody's gonna find
the
that.
internet's forever. Yeah.
Here's the thing is like, if these people actually care about money, then they are put in a position now to where they can redeem themselves and make money if they do it right. Will they? Probably not. But hey, they're in prime positioning to do so with He-Man and even with like James Bond, for example. So it's like, hey, you have these like properties with masculine leads. Just don't heck this up. Give the people what they want. Give them that strong white man and don't let him be overshadowed by a woman, because people are getting so sick and tired of the female lead now. And I am a big fan of female leads. Like, I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. I'm a big fan of like Claymore, the anime. I love a good female lead, but I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of it because it's not done well at all anymore. And they're also compromising with male-led stuff to throw in the female overshadowing it. So at that point, I'm just like, I'm burnt out of all this female leads that aren't done right. So with these properties, actually give a strong masculine lead. When I go back and play like older Splinter Cell games, it's like, whoa, he was unapologetically a man and like really masculine. And you can see now, even though it's more obvious what they've done with making the female characters more masculine and more like a dude, they have feminized male characters as well. Even the ones that look masculine, they still act way more feminine, or they're not just like, they're not unapologetic about their masculinity. And then so when you see a character from like Sam Fisher, for example, from the older Splinter Cell games, it's like, oh, he was a total man and he was unapologetic about it. That was refreshing.
Part of the issue is that these writers don't know how to write. They don't know how to uplift women without pushing down men.
Right.
Yeah,
It's the same. It's the same thing with DEI. Like, let's get more Black people into video game programming. Cool. I'm cool with that. But don't do it by not hiring men or white men. Like,
exactly.
Invest in programs so that young Black men. This is gonna sound, I don't really care how this sounds. Give young Black men role models that don't play basketball. Right. Like, you have to make coding.
I say this with a Michael Jordan jersey on.
Yeah. But like, you have to give Black people, like, you have to like show them this stuff. Just like not hiring white folks and hiring less skilled because they're that doesn't uplift Black people.